people, it's not now in Yoruba, for instance, in Yoruba land. The history is there. History is always there. A lot of people believe that, oh, this thing happened before. It's in the press. Every time people say Afoja, oh, see, that was how we allowed these people to take an inch and they took kilometers. Now, people have not forgotten that. And so you now say, again, we want to seize a whole territory in Lagos or somewhere else to give to these people. So what I'm saying is, just like the people who park fuel trucks on bridges in Lagos, for instance, there was when Governor Fashola was there, I remember he had a running battle with them. He provided land and said, look, if you people will develop this yourself, it is not government problem. You can develop this, or you get a developer and you pay. And rather than adopt that option, they insisted on, look, it's easier for us to move from this area down to where we're going to load fuel. That was the problem. There was land that was provided, they didn't use it. How are we sure that when you provide these lands for the cattle rearers, they will stay within the confines of the land provided when they are used to nomadic lifestyles? That is the problem.
Even, I'm sorry, from the standpoint of the law, you don't take land from private citizens
for public use.
For private use.
Because ultimately, this is a private business.
I want to understand that part. You don't take land from...
My father, I inherited certain portion of land from my father.
Family
by
land.
virtue of being his son. Okay? And maybe in a family we are 13. And we have about 5 or 7 hectares of land undeveloped because we are gradually inching. Some of us also have children that are growing up in the Igbo land. You share land for your children. I believe it's also the same.
Yeah, it is.
Now, because the land looks virgin, then you jump into it that you have the power to acquire land, maybe through the consent of a governor of the state, who is the custodian, holding in trust. This land ultimately goes to another private individual.
But I do not think the federal government just wants to jump on people's land.
Well,
they will pay compensation. They will pay compensation.
The compensation.
If you agree.
The compensation.
Land Use Act.
The Land Use Act gives you right to take land for overriding public interest, number one. And number two, you pay compensation on the economic crops.
Not on land.
It's nominal.
So you can have a piece of land in Lagos could have a value of about 200 million. But the economic crops on that place could be worth 5 million.
That's what you pay.
So the compensation is not based on the commercial value of the land, but on the economic crops. That is
so whose public interest now? Is
then,
it the interest
which is
of
the overriding public interest?
Or the people that you are bringing on the land? Is their own interest?
We cannot.
And my submission is that there is an alternate land in Sambisa.
Yes.
We cannot compare this to Akmongbo, for instance, when a coal bridge was being built.
Oh, no. Or an airport. Or an airport
that is used
by everybody.
The Kano State Governor is on record.
Yeah.
At least I saw him saying that he has the facility to accommodate the...
Oh yes, he said so.
All the
headsmen.
All of them. Now, the other logistical issue should have been how to move the cattle that are ready for slaughter to the various abattoirs in the locations. So there should be a holding place in each market where they operate for the cattle that come for either daily or weekly slaughter. But when you give colony or ranch in the sense it is being banded,
or in the sense that people are interpreting it.
Question is, let me say this.
Being banded in English language. It's not even Nigerians have studied French too.
Let's look at this. Let's look at this. This land has been appropriated in X state. Facilities are put in place. Now, because of who we have been, what happens 5 years down the line when those facilities are no longer maintained, because government can't keep maintaining, what happens? It's that the grass there is no longer green, is no longer working. The people have settled, so they are compelled again to leave.
That's the problem.
And they've already settled in that estate. It becomes easier for them to start encroaching, and a new set of problems will arise. So let's look at a long-term, holistic solution that makes sense.
Problem every time.
And still talking about this herdsman issue, have you noticed how cows now have free reign?
All over. National Assembly.
National Assembly, major roads in Lagos.
Schools.
Schools
now.
Yes.
And it seems to us from the last killings that we had last week, where your life is now worth 3 cows or something like that.
No, not one cow.
Let's look at Festus Akimboyewa is on Twitter and is saying that those who are against ranching must be profiting from the senseless killings we're experiencing in Nigeria.
If the killings are meant to pressure people to release lands that are not available, let it continue. One day it will stop.
It can't work.
Yes. One day the killing will stop. You cannot blackmail people release, because the cow is to the average Fulani herdsman what land is to people in my own village.
Okay, what
because that's the only thing they use.
Please, farmland. Someone should just answer me this one question. It will help me as an individual. Do you want a means of livelihood? If you want a means of livelihood, what is wrong with Sambisa forest? Someone should answer me that, because that is land. You can have your means of livelihood. Or do you want a spread over the nation? Those are two different. That question must be answered. If they want a means of livelihood, let me be the one to start a campaign today for the federal government. I don't care about appropriating funds. I will say appropriate funds. Develop Sambisa forest, because you gave me NDDC. I'm from the Niger Delta. So you can also give the Northeast Sambisa forest, appropriate money, settle these people. They are fellow Nigerians. Okay? But if you say, no, I don't want that, then you must tell me what you want.
There's an underlying reason that somebody is not telling everybody.
You see,
there's land, the topography is good, the environment is good. They don't have to totally move away from known territory. That's Sambisa forest as suggested. So why will somebody insist on coming down to Calabar or your state for the purpose of feeding his cattle when he can just stay very close home and continue with the business? That's a very fundamental.
We need to start winding down.
Okay, just
now.
A very quick one.
Yes.
Ordinarily and objectively, this ranching could be a very good business.
Very good.
If government was very well advised to get the buy-in of state governors. If you found it attractive as a state government, you can build and manage, give it out as a commercial entity, either an apparatus of the state and all that, to manage it. Like, I know that Lagos State has abattoir and all that and all that. It was built by the government, and people are subscribing. And it doesn't have to be when you are Fulani. If you are a herdsman and you want to start something, you can always buy a facility within the ranch and do something commercial for yourself.
Chima, you've taken up our time, so I don't even have time to take closing statements from
it's all part of what we can.
Anyway, we have been chatting to two legal practitioners, Chima Nnaji, the Proverbs man, and Mr. John Oloyede, as well as social commentator, Mr. Ezekiel Nya-Etok. Thank you all very much for coming to share your insights with us. Sunrise will be right back after this break.